And I would like to introduce First Lady of Lockport, Wendy Streit, to tell you about some things coming up with the Summer Art Series. And the mayor.
He's going to help me.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, thank you again for coming today. My job is to tell you all the fun things that we're going to be doing this summer to make sure that Lockport is successful, that Lockport is on the map, that our businesses get the attention that they deserve, and that we bring people from all over the Midwest to appreciate what we have here. So the very first thing that I want to make sure you guys know about is our Old Canal Days. And those meetings have been taking place all year long, and there's so much work that goes into this, but this is our local festival, and we hope that you guys will consider coming out and enjoying it yourselves, but also promoting it. And one of the things that I know is in the works that's pretty special and unique, usually Steve and I are one of many people that do the historic tours down by the canal. But as you know, these last few summers, if you want to lose 10 pounds by the end of the day, you can do the historic tour. It's so hot out there. In costume, it's way worse. But this year, they're going to be renting a trolley, and we're going to have the opportunity, thanks to Laughs, one of our groups in the city that makes sure they preserve our history. We're going to be doing historic tours from the trolley, which is air-conditioned, which I think is fantastic. So I said right away, oh, I'll help you with that. So come out for Old Canal Days. There we go. This we're pretty excited about. We feel like we're always trying to up the ante with the art that takes place in the city. So this is the new film festival. This has been Steve's baby that he's been working on. We've made connections with some really wonderful, connected people in the movie industry as well. And we've been already kind of promoting this, but we're going to be pushing it pretty hard in these next 30 days. We already have submissions that are coming in, but we feel like this is, our Summer Art Series Committee feels that moving towards film, short films would be a really great addition. Plus, thank God for the Roxy. We have this magnificent building that we can use in town and showcase it and then use it for these wonderful films that are going to be brought here. So we'll get to maybe see somebody's breaking ground in the film industry. This is something that's really important to us as well this summer. We want to show off and showcase the gorgeous downtown that we're going to be revealing very soon. So those of you that have not heard about this, we are working with Trinity Services, which also runs the Roxy, and they provide services for, like job training for people that may have special needs, that need extra help. And they actually, through their Trinity Services, they build these Adirondack chairs. So we have this wonderful opportunity to support Trinity Services and support our downtown. So if you would like, you can purchase an Adirondack chair and you can paint it yourself and design it, and you can put it in front of your business. If you don't have a business, you can, maybe you work out of your home or maybe you work elsewhere, whatever. You could have the chair put down at City Hall. And those of you that are familiar with our fabulous car shows that we have every Monday night, people will have the opportunity to see your chair. And then in August, your chair, you can either purchase it for a special amount or you can put it up for auction that we will be doing during one of our Friday night with Abe music down at the public landing. So Jody is right here. So if you'd like to order one of these, this is it. Like we have Thursday. Thursday is our deadline. So don't leave today without talking to her. And we promise we'll bill you, but it's for a good cause. And we promise you that it'll be a really wonderful thing that we're doing in the city. So please take advantage of this. The next thing is our Fridays in the Park with Abe. This has been sponsored by Gallery 7. They came to us for the Summer Art Series, and they're like, we want to do this. And it's always been a dream of ours and many others to have music down on the public landing because it's such a gorgeous spot. And you can purchase, wine and beer from Public Landing. We bring in food trucks down by the canal. You can go right over the footbridge. But it's just such a lovely time. And, you can bring your picnic lunch if you want to or whatever. Bring your friends. But it's such a lovely night to experience with the community members and friends. We'll be publishing those dates, but do take advantage of that. This is something we're very proud of, too. Gallery 7 has been part of our Summer Art Series committee, and again, they came to us and they're like, we need a little help with this, but this is what we're proposing. So the deal is they're going to make these large-scale frames that are going to be going in a couple places in different parts of the downtown. And people will be able to get behind those frames and take pictures with them. And then we'll have like a little contest where people can win like gift cards and things like that to our local restaurants. But again, the whole goal is to promote Lockport, get attention on Lockport, put this up on, different Facebook posts and things like that. It'll be a lot of fun, and they're going to all be very different, and they'll be very special. We are very proud of our Rotary Club. They started their own event, and it was a huge hit, we would like to say. So the coffin races, and I believe our own City of Lockport Police Department were the winners, so we're pretty impressed with them. Yeah. What a crazy, super fun event. So we're doing it again this year. October 12th, so do come out for that. It will be your loss if you miss this. So it was fun, very fun. This is something, too, that is very exciting coming to Lockport. So John LaFlamboy owns the Hell's Gate that was mentioned in the video, but he also owns the Legacy Adventure Park. And this amazing tournament that's going to be coming to our town, and it's going to be bringing 2,000 players from around the world. So this is an international incident that's going to be taking place, a positive international incident. But we hope that you guys will definitely support the park. My girls are chomping at the bit to get in there. But he's been working on it. He brings his high school students and partners with them, and they've been working on making crazy stuff so that you can climb around in there and have this awesome adventure. So do make sure that you come see that as soon as you can. Again, I feel like all we have is like more cool things coming. I am so excited about this event. Around the country, women clubs are doing the Witches' Night Out. This is our version of it in Lockport, but it's for everybody. Usually it's just a chick event. There's one in Joliet, and it's really nice. But this one is Spooky Night Out. It's by our own Lockport Women's Club, and it's for men and for women. And on top of it, you get to go hang out at Hell's Gate Haunted House for the night. And I know there's some VIP tickets where for those of you that can't go through it with the lights off, such as myself, you can go through it with the lights on, and I guarantee you it's still like this amazing experience because John has created something that I would consider as quality level as Disney World in there. And every time you go through it every year, it's different because he spends the rest of the year making it totally awesome. So this is worth it, and these tickets are going to go fast, so pay attention, get your tickets soon, and I'm not going to lie to you, people dress up. Like, you're going to have to find something fun to wear. This is not a suit event. You're going to have to look cool. So that's just your warning, so start thinking about it. This is crazy. This is the crazy mind of John Lustig, our museum curator at the Illinois State Museum. Yes, we're so proud of our museum. And we got to keep our museum, which is something else we are so proud of. Not everybody can say that. So we have this crazy exhibit that combines moon rocks, meteorites, and rock stars. How those two things go together, you are not going to understand unless you go there to find out. So I know you will not be disappointed. John always comes up with something bigger and better every single time. So don't miss out on that. Comicropolis, we partnered up with Comicropolis a while back, but this year we're doing some extra things with them because we want to double this in size. And when I say double it, they're already at 1,000 people that show up for this. This is an incredible event of moms and dads, children, singles. If you're into comics, this is the place to be. And we partnered with Amazing Fantasy Comic as well. And thanks to Joe Gentile, he's our resident expert. Yes. If you've never been in his shop, you have to do that one time. I love going in there, and my girls love it. It is right in the heart of downtown, but you have to make a visit there if you've not been yet. But Joe's expertise gets us artists and writers, and our library has been such a huge advocate for reading as well, and they have done such a beautiful job that the authors and writers are starting to clamor to this event. And it's so exciting to see the work that they have done. And I think when I look at our library, it is such, they do such powerful work getting people in the door, and we are so grateful for them. On that note, I bring you what you came for, which is Mayor Streit.
All right, everyone, welcome. Is this lapel mic working? Can you hear me okay? All right, it's good. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Wendy, for that great introduction of all the cool things that are happening. I do want to take a minute to thank all of our elected officials and representatives that are here tonight. Did you make it, Margot McDermott? Oh, I'm so sorry. You were like right in front of me. I'm so sorry. Thank you. She's Chief of Staff for Margot's office. Thank you for coming out. I know Dave Pillay is here. He's our treasurer. Henry Meter, one of our fire trustees, newly reelected again. Thank you, Henry. We've got John Solinsky, our Township Highway Commissioner, is here today. Denise Mushrow. Thank you, Denise, for being here. Yes?
Could you also use the handheld?
Yeah, of course.
We've got one to the camera and one live. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, sure. All right, then. That's better. I can hear it already. All right. Apologies to everyone who came before this. All right, and then Greg Bickus, he's here today, Lockport Township trustee. Our Lockport Township Park Commissioners are here, Jeff Rigoni, Jody Rigoni. I saw the Rigoni clan back there. We've got Don Bowers here, Max Woods, Jim Louch. I want to thank Denise Winfrey, our Will County speaker. Thank you for coming out, Denise. Appreciate it. Catherine Peretta, our alderwoman. We've got Christine Bergbauer, Joanne Bartleson, Darren Deskin, J.R. Galogoli, and Jim Petrakis. Very great council. Very honored to serve with all you guys. We also have Annette Parker from Will County Board and is also in charge of this event. Thank you, Annette, for being here. I know we have Nick Palmer and George Schaefer and Marty Shanahan are here also representing their cities and the county. So thank you all so much for being here today. Really do appreciate it. I will try to move things along because I know that your time is busy and it's always tough to make these events. So I will try to move this quickly. Thank you to the Chamber for putting this on. Great event as always. Again, just running through all the folks that were part of being here today from elected representatives. Sorry about that. Again, we have two new council folks coming up. We have Mark Lobes and Larry Schreiber will be joining the council. Jim's going back to his regular life, which I can't blame him for a second. And Mark Lobes was appointed when Jason Vandermeer moved out of town. So we look forward to working with these guys full-time pretty soon. Thank you again for all the help that comes from all the organizations. If it wasn't for the Women's Club, the Moose, the Rotary, Midwest Soaring, Sister Cities, if it wasn't for all these organizations, nothing cool would really happen in the city. And so thank you all for all your efforts that you make here throughout. All right, so I want to move forward. So finance and development. Our finances continue to stay healthy. We're AA rated by Standard & Poor. This is our 8th year of a GFOA Excellence Award, 4th Distinguished Budget Award. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Maggie, and our staff for making that happen. Our sales tax revenue is at $2.7 million, which is 16% of our general revenue. It has continuously gone up, as you guys can see here. I got my little green light, which is great. We love to see those numbers moving forward. And at the same time, we like to see the numbers of our property rate going down, the tax rate for the property rate. It's continuously gone down a little bit each year, thanks to our growth and thanks for the good management that we've had in the city. So that's a good positive. As far as our infrastructure goes, we recently passed a 10-year CIP. We had one the first 4 years we were in office. We kind of revamped it, put it back up on the block so we could take another look at it, and now we have a new 10-year plan. And it's going to just continue to take care of our infrastructure. Last year we spent about $11.5 million of work. This year we have about 16.5 budgeted, just a little under. And it's going to go into road reconstructions, our engineering plans, which I'll show you in a minute. Water main replacement. We have a new deep well that's being dug up at 151st Street. This is good. This goes into the deep clean water. And we'll be able to bring that up. And we're running a new water main down Gauger Road. So it's going to actually make a loop for the whole city. It should really help our water quality a lot to bring in that new deeper water and mixing it in with our shallower wells, which we've been doing iron filtration. And having this loop will really, there won't be any dead spots, or that'll reduce them a lot. So we're looking forward to this plan, and thank you for our engineering department for working and coming up with this. Some of the things like when we spend money on engineering plans, this is a good example. There's a concept for adding a center lane down 159th Street. If you guys go from like Garfield up past the Dairy Queen, right, if you're making a left turn, God forbid, into Tuffy, everybody looks at that shoulder as the passing lane, right? And they whip around you at full speed. It's crazy. So there is enough room there if we can actually put a center dedicated turn lane the entire length. That way you don't have to go around people on the left. The people who are making left turns rather can get into the center lane. So we spent a little bit of money to do some plans. There's going to be actually an open house for that on April 25th. But we're trying to solve some of these problems, and that is absolutely a problem. We just redid our bike path master plan. We just had an update. We had an open house not too long ago. Residents came out, talked about how they want to stay connected within the town with bicycles. 2 ideas that I put forward with them is trying to connect. If you go up to the 135th Street Bridge, there's just like 300 yards that keeps you from riding from here all the way to Bridgeport. And if we can work with Sitco and we can work with this master plan, I would love to close that gap. I know I talked to Mayor Goffskip and Lamont about doing it as well, very much on board, and can really make a safe ride, all the way up and down the I&M Canal. So we looked at that. I also talked to Dr. Livingston a little bit about doing a high-bridge bike path. We talked to IDOT. They're very much like the idea. So one of those big shoulders on the high bridge could be a designated bike lane so that we can connect Lewis University into our town. So those are things that we're exploring. Looking at some more infrastructure improvements, we added an opening from the city lot to get forward into town. This ramp has helped a lot, so you don't have to jump off that 3-foot ledge. We are going to redo this whole parking lot this summer after Old Canal Day, so that'll be cleaned up. And we're also looking at some new parking options. This is an aerial view of where the Stagecoach restaurant is going in, and there's Jackie's. But we've been talking to the property owners about consolidating some of these properties and making new egress and having it paved and having a public parking lot back there. I think it will add a lot of value to the downtown and help with all this great growth that's going on. So these are kind of some projects that we're working on as well. Our train gates, if you guys remember last year, I talked about we got this $1 million grant to put in safety equipment along the tracks, which moves us closer to a quiet zone. But it's hard to get CN on board and working with us on this. And then we had this crazy thing where the gates were closing for 20 minutes at a time with no train. And we did end up putting a lot of pressure on them. And thank you to Senator Hastings, who was very instrumental in getting CN's attention. And after a couple meetings in Springfield and the Illinois Commerce Commission, CN's finally talking to us. And so they have been making improvements on this gate. I think they will finally get all the bugs worked out here within the month. But also, along those lines, now that we got talking to the right people in Washington, they're really working with us and implementing these other measures that we had the grant money for. And some of it's like extending the turn lane, coming off of the High Street Bridge. If you're going south on 150 or State Street, all these kind of things will help a lot. But we needed CN's cooperation, and now we're finally getting it. So good for that. The State Street reconstruction, it's scheduled to still wrap up here in the middle of June, hopefully just before Old Canal Days. Right here you see some of the recovered stone from the old Seven Arches Bridge being installed. The planters are going in. Very excited about having this finish up. I know it's tough on the businesses, but it really will be a whole new thing. And underneath, there's tons of work that I know sometimes people, this is taking a really long time. It's like you have no idea what happened underneath there. Filling those vaults and all the new gas lines, new water mains. It was a very, very complicated project down there. But we are looking forward to getting wrapped up soon. Going to our police department. SafeWise ranked Lockport 10th on the safest cities in Illinois. That's a great thing. Yeah, I mean, in no small part to all the efforts of our police department and the officers there. We also just were given the Illinois Law Enforcement Accreditation. This is an outside, by the Illinois Chiefs of Police. They come in, they do an assessment. It was actually pretty rigorous, and it's making sure that we're following best practices within the industry, and we've been given that accreditation. It's a very good thing. Credit to our police department. There wasn't a lot of changes that had to be made. They've been doing a really great job staying up to these standards as it is, but now it's just been recognized by an outside organization as well. One of the things I love about our department is that they are a community-focused organization. I mean, Terry started Lockport Love, which helped over 14 families this year, doing home repairs, mortgage, rent payments. It's about police officers that go into the community, and they're looked at as people that are here to help, not people that are here to enforce and be the heavies, right? And our department has, I think, hands down, one of the reasons we're in the top 10 safest cities because of these kinds of things. So thank you for our department and all the efforts that you make. We also started Safe Passage. We never wanted to stick our head in the sand about this opioid problem and say, well, not in our town. It's absolutely in our town. It's in every town. And we didn't want to stick our head in the sand, so Terry and I, we got together. We made Safe Passage, which is a heroin addiction treatment where people have, they can come in. And if they come in, we find and we get them long-term treatment. In 2018, 14 residents were saved. And I know hands down, Terry has told me, he goes, some of these people would not be with us today if it was not for Safe Passage. So thank you, department, for that. A couple little shout-outs to our Lockport schools. We have great schools in the city of Lockport. We really do. I know Donna Gray's here today, and I know that we have representatives from Taft and other schools. We're very blessed to have great public schools and private schools as well. We've got Bobby Noonan, there's St. Joe's, there's St. Denis, and all this is a really great feeder into our high school. Lockport Township was again ranked in the top 10% of all high schools by Newsweek. That's a really great thing. I know they have new leadership. Dr. Robert McBride is the new superintendent. Did you end up showing up, Robert? Are you here? There he is. Welcome. Thank you for coming out. Janine Wheeler is also the new face. Yes, the new face of the school. But Robert, you got big shoes to fill. Todd Burnett did a lot of great things, and the reason we have these great stats is for what Todd has done, along with the great staff at Lockport Township High School. But I've heard great things, and we know you'll fit right in and carry that mantle. But I mean, just the AP programs that they have, the dual credit courses that they teach, which help with college credits, the Illinois Skills Competition. I love this. We got to have these guys out for at council, because I would love to meet everybody. But this was a competition between engineering, technology design, Teamworks, 3D visualizations and animation, power equipment technology teams. They all went into a competition, and they all qualified for the nationals, which they're going to go down to St. Louis in June. So very proud of them. Our sports teams always do great. The varsity Winter Guard was named 2019 Scholastic Midwest Color Guard Circuit Champions, also ranked 8th nationally. Go figure, right? 8th nationally. Our wrestlers, these guys are getting tired of coming to council meetings, right? We bring them out every time they win. I think I've seen Matt more than I've seen Jim Petrakis at meetings, right? So, sorry, I just came to my head. But we're very proud of them. Lockport, this is the picture of the golf team. They won 3rd in the state. And then we have George Arts coming out. He's going to be our new football coach, which I know everyone's excited about that. So thank you very much for all the hard work our schools do, and just it's the base. It's the foundation of a city. I want to get a little bit into, I always like showing this slide because, our heritage has been manufacturing and logistics. I mean, these were all warehouses, moving foodstuffs, mills, grains, and everything. Really hasn't changed, just the location. Instead of the canal being the highway for those goods, it's the highway. And over the years, those last 4 years, 5 years, we've gotten a lot of these great businesses have come into the city of Lockport. Some new ones that have come into Heritage Crossings for this year and one expansion. Atosa expanded. But we now have Pepperidge Farms is coming in, Mission Foods, Cain is Able Foods, Metropolitan Warehouse and Delivery. They do furniture, they move around. So it is part of, Lockport's history is to have these kind of logistical places. S&S Activewear is going to be coming into Prologis here soon. That's that really large, probably the largest building we'll have in Lockport. That's being made at the Prologis site, so S&S Activewear will be coming in there. And it's going to be a neat building. They'll have the solar panels on the roof. They'll try to do a green footprint as well. So we're looking forward to them coming to town. All right, I think every year for 5 years I've showed you this slide. This is the Highlands. Yeah, well, they finally broken ground. So, yeah, so now they're finally moving forward, and it's good. It's a really nice complex. It's a higher-end apartment complex with a pool and concierge service, and really looking forward to having that kind of different style housing in the city of Lockport. But our housing starts have been up. We had 69 single-family detached homes this year. We had altogether, we had over 80 permits. So our housing starts continue to trend up, which is good. Not overwhelming, but not dead. And so there's just a nice, steady housing starts, which is great for all kind of aspects about a healthy city. One thing, I know Joe Mikan is here today. Him and his family have had Big Run for decades. Big Run was looking at kind of golf as maybe, I don't know, maybe it's new now with Tiger Woods winning, right? But golf has kind of been on the decline. I know the Mikan family looked at doing some developments, some residential developments up there. They would need water and sewer, so they asked if that was something we could provide if they were to annex into the city, and we said certainly we could. So this is just a concept plan. They certainly want to make sure that they keep the beauty of the landscape, the creek will remain, and the mature trees and stuff. But right now, they're just at a concept stage, and we're very happy to bring them into the city of Lockport if this is where they want to go, and it certainly seems like that's the direction that's happening. So that'll be something coming up in the next number of years. Going over to Lockport Square, Holiday Inn Express is going to break ground before August. I just talked to Jim Puritan yesterday, so looking forward to that. Marcus Theater submitted all their drawings and their engineering. I still don't have a committed start date from them yet, but we just recently passed all of the, and gave approvals to the buildings themselves. Also at Lockport Square, Chipotle, Mode Pizza, they're going to build their own building, and they're going to share it, and they'll have the two other spots in the middle there as well. So we look forward to that addition up there at Lockport Square. We have a Bentonhausen Chevrolet is going to take the southern end of the complex, and so it's a beautiful dealership that they're going to come in with. I don't think we've had a new car dealership since the Mackin building was a Ford dealer on State Street, right? That's like 60 years ago. So we welcome them, and I think it'll be a great addition to the city of Lockport. Arby's got their sign up the other day when I drove by and snapped this picture. So Arby's is coming along. That's going to be fun. The Goddard School is building right in front of NTB Tire. Again, they'll just join the ranks of all that really wonderful educational institutions that we have here in the city. So we look forward to the Goddard School building. The 9th Street corridor. So Advocate had moved out, I don't know, about like 2 years ago, I think now, and the building's been fairly empty. But recently it was purchased by the DuPage Medical Group. And they're pretty much going to do about the same things that were there when it was Advocate. They'll have physical therapy facilities, labs, imaging, sleep study facility, private general practices, immediate care. So they'll pretty much pick up where Advocate was, and we really look forward to having DuPage Medical Group back there. So that's the story of that building. Right next to it is Christian Brothers have built that. It's an auto. They mainly focus on. What do you call it? Like, warranties. Thank you, Sonny. That's why I keep her close. It's for warranty work. So it's not necessarily your general mechanic, but like if you've bought your car in Frankfurt and you don't want to go out there to get it repaired under the warranty, you can go to Christian Brothers. It's a really lovely building. So that's coming along. Jed is here. Jed. So this is, you guys remember Catalina Motors, right? It was there forever. I mean, he has done a magnificent job. It's actually swanky inside. You go inside, it's swanky. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. And a little known fact, this brickwork that he did on the outside, is actually recovered brick from the Willowbrook Ballroom. That is really cool. So I've told them we got to connect them with the Lockport swing thing so you guys can do a dance out there in the parking lot, man. They will love that. So great job, Jed. Thank you for all the work you've done there. They should be getting the pavement here just in the next week or two, so it's really close. Corwin Plaza, we finally, won't be Corwin Plaza anymore. These are 2 lateral moves, but I think it takes up this big void, which is nice. Napa Auto Parts took half. The post office is going to take the other half of this building here. So we'll start seeing activity once more at that plaza. Hey, the Sea Captain's in town, right? You guys eat? Who's eating there yet? Anybody? I've heard it's really good. So, yeah. So the Sea Captain's here right next to, so this is right next to Perfect Shape Fitness where Tim, right, the new chamber president, he writes on the board, don't eat fried foods, right? I'm like, you realize the captain's right next door, So he erased it. But anyways. Marielle from Petra Pilates, she had moved from downtown, and she's over there by Hollingsworth Candy. The Montessori school expanded a little bit also in that plaza. And I think Barrett's is going to expand a little bit too. Barrett's Hardware, they're going to do a little expansion. So all these 3 businesses have been in town, and they're doing well, and they're looking at doing expansions. This is an interesting building. You guys remember the old Stamp Time building? It had been empty for years. And then some guys came in, and they did a cigar lounge. The funny part about this is, as soon as it was bought, everybody calls me. He's like, I was going to buy that building and do something. You snooze, you lose, right? So if you guys are looking at buying something, you got to get on that stick. They really did a wonderful job rehabbing that building. It looks great. But here's a really super exciting projects that are going on. I know the Galluses are here today. So Joe and Sherry bought these 4 buildings here along State Street. They have been really kind of just sitting empty for a long, long time. And fortunately, they came along and they were able to purchase them. And they're going to do some really interesting things. Bob Morris from Orbis Architecture has done these renderings of these buildings and bringing them back to how they were when they were first built. And so we're very excited about what Bob has put together for Joe and Sherry. The first building here, this is actually the original stagecoach in the city of Lockport. And, Joe has been very good about trying to do what can be done to preserve it. I mean, you go into the basement of this, the floor joists are like logs, man. I mean, this is like how old it is. And we're down here with Jerry Edelman and guys from Bauer Latoza and Dennis Kramen from Lewis University, all looking at the historic aspect of it. But Joe's been very good about being sensitive to the fact that what this building was and it's part of its history. Right next door, we'll go the Sugarista Bakery. We'll go into the small spot. The building next to that, he's redoing as well. And that will be the Stagecoach restaurant. And let me tell you, man, they are working like beavers in there. This is really cool. Here's Joe and Sherry having a good time. But this is really going to be fun. I mean, he's holding nothing back with this. Sherry's always showing me new menu items. This is the cowboy grilled cheese we're going to do. And so it should be a lot of fun. And you're really grateful that you guys are here doing this. The next building after that is it's finally all tuck pointed, looks great. That is going to be leased out to Grape and Hops. We mentioned them last year. They were looking at going into the Mackin building, but now they're going to go across here so that in the Mackin building, well, I'll come back to you guys. In the Mackin building, well, let me just jump ahead. So Naked Sprouts is here. Nikki, or the beautiful singer. Yeah, she was here. And Charles, you can see who does all the work, right? Right? Charles is sitting back there smiling for the camera. But this was Naked Sprouts. They recently purchased it from Lori Sloan, who's moved out to Colorado, and it's transformed a little bit. They do juices and smoothies, so the next day after you feel guilty about that cowboy grilled cheese, right, you go get a cleanse, man, at Naked. So Embers continues to build out up on the 3rd floor. It's beautiful what they're doing on the 3rd floor. Smaller, more intimate spaces. Instead of like you had an event, you don't want to rent out the whole 2nd floor. You go to the 3rd floor, and they got these coffered ceilings. So we're really looking forward to David flushing that out. Another new building coming to downtown. This is where the old dry cleaner building was. Again, Robert Morris with Orbis Architecture has designed this building that will go in there. We're looking forward to that, breaking ground as well. So that's pretty exciting. And then over to Tangled Roots, Scott and Steve are here from there. I think the working name, or maybe it's the final title, TR Wood-Fired Grill, is going to go in the old Mackin building. And it's hard to tell from this picture, but they have these really interesting canopy here, and on the inside, the floor layout is wonderful. It's got an open fire grill here, and the seating, and an outdoor patio in the back, and then the brewery will go in the upper corner here. So, and it's a serious menu. This isn't like, fast food. This is, I met the chef about a month ago, and these are talking about all kind of crazy things. So this is really going to be a tremendous change in downtown. And we thank you for all the people that are investing in the city and have, caught on to the vision and everything that's going on and can see it. So thank you so much for that. Also looking a little bit down the road, this is the old Texaco oil refinery right here, right? And Chevron spent a lot of money remitting it, and it's a brownfield, and it's been that way for many years. What happens there is important to us because this is larger than the entire historic downtown. So whatever happens here is going to define what happens just a few blocks away. Chevron has worked with the city to, we kind of did a property swap for this acreage, which is now part of the city. And so this goes back to, you guys saw it in that video about the Makers Park. I'd like to try to be, instead of just reactive to what comes into the city, is to be a little proactive, is to work, towards something. And so that was what the Maker Park is about. It's really about, this is the kind of a concept layout. It's a courtyard-style complex with a bunch of smaller units, maybe 2,500 square foot units, a couple 5,000s or 10,000s on the corners. If you were to look at it from an elevation, it'd be 2 stories, and they would all have a bunch of high bay doors on the top and bottom floors. And it's really meant for collaboration with how we work in this Makers Park, which I'll kind of describe a little bit more what that means. So, just for understanding exactly where this is the West End Park right here. Here's the Heritage Village over here on 2nd Street. So, why a Makers Park? Well, one of it is it's about trying to give an alternative to the Will County paradigm, which just seems to be distribution. And while that's a great thing and it brings businesses in, we'd like to try to offer something a little different. And so, and it also, quite frankly, it counters that throwaway culture we have. I mean, right now we've got a lot of things that come in from overseas and they're throwaway, they're plastic, they break. I mean, how many Christmas presents did you buy your kids that broke in 15 minutes? And so it kind of counters the throwaway culture. A Makers Park is about people who, it's those 4 or 5 cats up in Lincoln Park that are hand-making bike frames, or a couple people that are, making Chihuly chandeliers, but it's their business, and they're making quality American goods, and they're putting their heart and soul into it because it's what they do. And they're small shops. And so a Makers Park, like what I'm presenting, it does a lot of great things. One of them is it fosters collaboration, and it also helps with education. I mean, it's about having your big high bay door open when you're working in the summer, and when you walk out to take a break, you walk right next door, and there's the other guy making something else. And you guys have these conversations. It's like, you know what, I need something welded for what I'm doing. And it's not a business park where you're a parking lot away from somebody else. Everybody's right there. There's intimacy. And even within the park itself, we wanted to do an area where in this courtyard, all these high bay doors can be opened up in the summer. You could do an outdoor bazaar in the summer. On the one end, we can have an area where there's common retail space where everybody can sell their wares in one common space, so it makes it a destination. We've even talked a little bit with JJC and their culinary program, also making in that space commercial kitchens. And I'm not talking about, we're going to bring in an Applebee's. I'm talking about like 10 little small stations where people can come in, and there might be somebody who makes falafels. There might be a space that just rents the space out, because there's people that, I remember when Charles told me when he was making his salsa, it's really hard to find commercial kitchen space that you can rent. So maybe one of these units is a place where people come in and they rent and they make their jams or they do something. But it has a destiny. You never know what you're going to eat if you come down to the Makers Park, right? There's always something cool going on. And that's the common retail space I was talking about. I think this also does a lot to engage and give direction to our younger generations. We already have a great program. I know we have the robotics club at the high school. The STEM lab is at the high school. These are young makers, people who are doing things with their hands. JJC has a maker space already. Lewis University has a new maker space that they've put up. And these maker spaces are kind of like the JV team. Maker spaces are oftentimes, and there are a number around the region where they might commonly rent a 5,000 square foot space and everybody pays $100 and they go in with their key cards and they'll use the 3D printers or they'll use the silkscreen machines. And that's great, but when they get to a point sometimes where they need actual space now, it's like, you know what, I need 2,500 square foot because I'm making something now. We've been playing around with the maker space and tinkering about. That's why the Maker's Park, I think, is a great place to go next from a maker space to a maker's park. Why here? Why Lockport? Why build ground up? A lot of times when you see maker's parks, you see them in old industrial buildings. I believe personally that if we build and design it so that it fosters the creativity. It's not trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. It's meant to be a cooperative place. So I think designing it from ground up is important. There's the authenticity of it. This is right off the canal path. You can walk out of there and walk downtown. And I know creatives like that kind of thing. They don't want to be stuck out by the highway in some big box. They want to feel like there's an authentic experience. And so it also makes it, and also for the destination aspect of it. It's got a great proximity to the Chicagoland talent pool. This isn't being built out in the middle of the Ozarks. There's people that are talented and do this kind of work that can be pulled from all around this area. Our current relationships with educational institutions, like I mentioned, Lewis and JJC, because I do believe that this will have to, if it's going to work, it's going to have private money, educational money, and even it's going to have cooperation with the city. And that's why this is city-owned property, and then we have a TIF district, and there's also an enterprise zone that this falls into. So the next step from here is to go to a feasibility study. A Hitchcock Group has given us a feasibility plan, and so that's to see if we can make this work. Is there a way to make this work? Can we bring the cost of this down to a point where it actually can make money? Doesn't have to make a lot of money, it just has to be in the black, right? That's really what this is about. So the current partners we have right now are CL Enterprises. It's an international company that's very interested in what we're doing here. They've been part of this idea process. In fact, they were the guys that mentioned you got to have the retail and the kitchen space. So they're involved in this. Joliet Junior College, Judy Mitchell's have been working with us, and very excited about doing the culinary aspect of this. Space Lab, that is a maker's space run by Jay Margalis. He has a couple locations in the region, and he really wanted to open a maker space here in Lockport as well. He's got a lot of background knowledge for maker parks, and so he's part of our little group here. Obviously, Chevron is part of this, and they've had this conversation with us, the city, and then, of course, the Illinois Enterprise Zone. But that is something that's very important. I would like to change and put that Chevron property on a trajectory that I think is something that benefits the downtown, creates a destination, and fits nicely in our space. So last slide here, where are we going? I know we want to do a little update for our strategic plan. I know council and I had started talking about this. We have new council members coming on board. I think it's best to kind of sit down and let's make sure we're all on the same page and hear new ideas and kind of flush out other ideas. And so that's coming up. I know we're going to do a Route 171 corridor plan. That's that kind of north entrance into the city. How's that going to play out over the next few years? And so we want to get a strategic plan for that. We're also going to make sure that we look at north of 159th Street, right across from Lockport Square. Recently, all those properties now have been annexed, so they're ready to be developed. But I believe that it's not going to be your typical retail. I mean, you guys have seen how hard it is to get Lockport Square off, but that's because it was designed to be that, pre-recession, big boxes, giant parking lot thing. The trend today is mixed use, living space, smaller things, smaller retail. And I believe that looking at that north side of the street, that's probably the direction it needs to go. And so we want to kind of make sure we have plans for that. South State Street, oops, sorry, let me go back. I got out of it. South State Street, the Tessone Motors, Joe Tessone passed away, and it's left kind of a pretty large hole down there of a lot of empty properties. And so we're trying to look at ways that maybe we can do a PUD or find a way to make all those properties work together. So that's something we're exploring. And then, of course, we want to make sure that we stay on top of our infrastructure with our CIP, making sure we keep it funded so that we keep rebuilding roads as we can every year, continue to improve our water quality, and so forth. So I know it's kind of a long lunch. I thank you for putting up with it. Thank you for coming out today. And if you got any questions, feel free to hunt me down. I mean, if you got any questions you can't hold back, you feel free to yell them out or anything. Okay. But feel free to find me and ask me anything, of course. And thank you so much for being here today. And we're really excited about this coming year here for the city of Lockport. Bless you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much. As always, a great presentation. I know everybody's on the edge of their seats wanting to get moving here, but we have coffee and you have a cookie with the city logo on it at your seat. And the other thing is, there are a couple of historic building collectibles there. Those are not to take home. Those are available through the Lockport Area Genealogical and Historical Society. See me if you have any questions and want to purchase one. However, we are giving away the plant at the center of the table, and the way we'll do that is you guys can get to know each other and who has the closest birthday to today. So that will be the winner of the plant. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming.